How many of you have heard of Nueva Trova or Nueva Cancion? Actually, it's so funny. I drove down here from Portland, where it's very cold, and I had a half hour to kill, so I stopped into a little Mexican place, met this gentleman, Patrick, here, and also spoke with the bartender, who was he was pretty young and from Mexico, and I said I was going to give this workshop, and he goes, "Oh, the trova," and he pulls out his little iPod, and he said, "I have, Silvio Rodriguez, I have this and that and that." Silvio Rodriguez is like a god in Mexico, and so I guess for those, like Nueva Cancion or New Song was really a movement in the 60s and 70s that proliferated. Latin America was under many dictatorships, sponsored by the U.S. and controlled by the elites of the countries, and there was that, and a lot of militarism, a lot of young people disappearing, dying, being tortured, and there was also the 60s, which was a youth awakening, and young people in Latin America really started thinking about, okay, hearing Bob Dylan, hearing Iron Butterfly, hearing what about our music, because all they were hearing on the radio was imported kind of canned music that didn't really resonate, didn't really speak to the cultural identity that was so rich. And so really, like Violeta in Chile was kind of really where the movement took root, I guess, first. And Violeta Parra, who wasn't really a musicologist, but she was a cultural person, just like the Parra family, very famous, with the writers and the poets. And she went up and down the thin country of Chile collecting folk music and documenting it and collecting that. And that was a radical action of cultural heritage combined with poetry and melody. There's a real sense of poetry that finally, I think English is really, popular music in English is really starting to grasp onto as well. And so, really, there was the idea that there was a culture of consent. You've heard like Noam Chomsky and others talk about manufacturing consent, and that's what really was happening in Chile and in Latin America. But young people kind of started rejecting that. And as they rejected it, this new art form came to fruition. And even though it was very like nationalistic in scope, what happened was that musicians throughout Latin America, there's much more of a sense of the cohesiveness, the kind of commonality across borders, and you saw that so much in the music. And there wasn't this kind of artiste who was the owner of the song, he or she's the only one who could sing that song. It was quite the opposite. It was a sharing of songs, and also kind of using songs, especially in Chile, to organize and to reach people on a really authentic level. And I'm sure you've heard of Victor Jara. He was actually a friend of Violeta Parra. She was older than he was, but she was like his mentor, and he could have done anything. He was a writer. I highly recommend his widow wrote a biography called Victor, and it's a very beautiful biography of his life. And Violeta said to him, "You need to sing." He goes, "You're an actor, you're a director, but you need to sing." And so he did start singing. He sang with the workers and the unionists. And during the coup in Chile in 1973, he was captured, recognized for who he was, because he was very famous and well known. And he was brought into Santiago Stadium and arrested. And 3 days later, he was dead. He'd been tortured very severely. But his music lives on. His music lives on, and as I said, it did travel across borders, and likewise, he made famous one of the most emblematic songs of the Nueva Cancion movement, which is called A Desalambrar, by Daniel Biglietti, who's from Uruguay. And that song, A Desalambrar, means tear down the barbed wire. Very strong song about collective ownership of land, you know. So you have people like Victor Jara and Violeta Parra in Chile. And then, of course, after the coup in Chile, groups, Chiquila Payún and Inti Limani, the really famous groups, they were in exile. So they were able to use the music and to travel around the country to let people know what was going on in Chile, you know. And even after the dictatorship came and Pinochet took power, the music did go underground a bit. And people had to kind of speak in code, but they still got the point across. So, I mean, there's many forms that Nueva Cancion takes, or it's called different things in different countries, in different parts of the Americas. In Cuba, it's like Nueva Trova, you know. In Nicaragua, it's called Volcanto. And then you have emblematic figures of the new song movement, like Mercedes Sosa in Argentina, or Ali Primero in Venezuela. So there are just multiple names, many people that comprise this movement. And for me, it's kind of a contained movement that was in the 60s and 70s, but I see the continuum of it today in artists like Leela Downs, for instance. You know, she's really, I think she's very much rooted in that history. And there are other artists as well that continue the tradition. So, do any of you have any questions about the, yeah?
Are these mostly songs that are traditional, or are they?
Part of the movement was to reclaim like authentic traditional rhythms, but then the lyrics changed kind of to reflect, you know, a certain reality. And Violeta Parra, her early music was more, she just was collecting the traditional songs and singing them, which was in itself kind of a radical act. But then, as the repression became greater in Chile, she started, her music was really, she took those traditional rhythms and she put new lyrics to them. Actually, there's an amazing documentary that I still haven't seen yet about Violeta Parra, and I can't wait to see it because I've missed my opportunity, but if you get a chance, because the actress who plays Violeta Parra, she learned all the songs, and she performed. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, no, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't really know the real details, so I have to go back and see how much of the movie is true, because I definitely, you know, learned and became aware of some things that I didn't know about, and so now I got to go fact check it.
But it's really quite something that, I mean, I've seen the actress and I'm like, wow, she just became her, really, you know.
What's the name of the documentary?
I mean, excuse me, it's not a documentary, it's a feature film about her life.
Oh, right.
It's called, I think it's just called Violeta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just called Violeta.
Yeah. One other point about with the folklore, it was, you know, common there. The folk and the indigenous cultures were highly disrespected, and everything European was great,
Right.
and so, you know, reaching for the folklore was very important for their survival.
Oh, yeah, precisely, because like that, I mean, the cultural takeover was really profound. I mean, it still is, right? But they were using, it really was a way to say, hey, we have this authentic culture, we have something really profound here that we really need to revive, to renovate, to bring forward, you know, and really make it present. And it really resonated with youth, and it really helped mobilize people, you know. And the fact of Victor Jara, you know, being tortured and killed showed that this was, you know, the power of, you know, song and the arts. And he wasn't the only one. There were many. Mercedes Sosa had to go into exile in Argentina. She, after a concert she gave in 1979, she was imprisoned, and other artists had to go into exile as well. And they all organized without cell phones too, which is kind of blows your mind, you know.
People talk to each
Yeah, they really did. So it's really quite something. So I think that what Barry said about the kind of disdain for indigenous cultures, right? That was a big piece of our heritage. I say our heritage in the Americas, right? Latin America, yes, but the U.S. of course. So Nueva Cancion was kind of a way to revive that. In Cuba, it was a way to revive the Nueva Trova because they were all, and actually I went to Cuba in 1985, I went to Cuba and I got a taste of that Trova because they would be like, older men mostly in bars kind of playing these incredible rhythms, incredible songs, and people like Silvio Rodriguez and Pablo Milanés and others, they took that Nueva Trova and they said, we really love this music, but we're going to make it ours. We're going to make it more youth-oriented. One more influence, especially with Victor Jara, but other musicians as well, is that there's a lot of nature imagery in the songs and kind of using nature as kind of like a metaphor to really talk about liberation, and freedom. And there's also kind of liberation theology is also, are you familiar with liberation theology? Just because Latin America is a very, was a very Catholic, area of the world, and so liberation theology was just kind of a way of like saying, okay, well, the Bible says, the meek shall inherit the earth. What? This is the earth. Let's inherit it, And so, like Victor Jara has this wonderful song called Plegaria a un labrador, prayer to a laborer, so he just says, and it's like a prayer, right? But he's calling the laborer to take their land, say rise up, and look at your hand, like as if he's like kind of a priestly figure kind of speaking, to the poor. So that's another element of Nueva Cancion as well. So should we sing something?
Sure.
All right. Well, actually, I think we'll start with the Caminando. I'll just going to play like little snippets here and there, but it's like walking. And he says, by Victor Jara, he says, I'm walking, I'm searching for freedom. I hope I can find the way so I can keep on going. It's really hard to see in the shadow. It's hard to find clarity because when the sun shines so brightly, it washes out the truth. And it blows me away, that metaphor, because usually it's always about darkness, right? But in this way he's saying, no, the light is so bright that you can't see it, It kind of washes things out. So it's a very beautiful song, so they'll play a little bit, Caminando. Caminando, caminando, voy buscando libertad. Ojalá encuentre camino para seguir caminando. Es difícil encontrar en la sombra claridad cuando el sol que nos alumbra descolora la verdad, cuando el sol que nos alumbra descolora la verdad. ¿Cuánto tiempo estoy llegando? ¿Desde cuándo me ha ido? ¿Desde cuándo? Caminando, caminando, caminando. Oh, you don't have to clap. It's okay. Thank you very much. And, but do you want to sing one? All right, because there's one on your list called Casa Abierta, and that one actually has the translation. But we're going to move up to Nicaragua, and we're going to do a song by Salvador and Katia Cardenal. The name Cardenal might be familiar to some of you if you know a little bit about Latin America, but Ernesto Cardenal is a very famous poet. Yeah, oh, you're good. Yeah, from Nicaragua. Have you been in Nicaragua?
Yes.
Oh, tell.
It was during the Contra War still, but
Yes.
it was quite an adventure.
Right. No, it really actually tears my heart out to know what Nicaragua tried to do and what, our government had a big hand in destroying. I mean, it's not all the U.S. is the big bully, but we certainly did quite a bit to undermine that poor country. But they did produce this wonderful brother and sister, Katia and Salvador Cardenal. Unfortunately, Salvador, he passed away. He had a very strange illness, and he passed away. It's really sad. But if you get a chance, and if you really, like this kind of music, I highly recommend their album called Guarda Barranco. Right, that was their group, Guarda Barranco. It's a beautiful album, and Katia has this angelic voice, really beautiful. So this song is called Casa Abierta, and the part for you is there's a little bit of like a chorus, and it just goes Casa Abierta. So you want to try that? It goes Casa Abierta, and then it goes Hay un plato por ti en la mesa. You'll get it. But anyway, this song is very big. Hey, hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Stuck in the subway. Hi there.
Quiero estar bien con mis hermanos, de norte a sur, a fin del mundo. Saber oír y dar mis manos, sudar dudando algo bien sano. Todos aquí somos humanos. ¿Qué más me da el color, la raza? Dentro tenemos sentimientos que necesitan de sustento. Si adentro tenemos sentimientos, no se pueden quedar adentro. Aquí está mi casa abierta, hay un plato por ti en la mesa, sobre de algo para tu cabeza, libre abierto a tu vida mi puerta. Casa abierta, la amistad no cuestiona tu credo, a la tierra le gusta que amemos, sin distingo de culto y bandera. Casa abierta. Quisiera darte buena suerte y ser tu amiga hasta la muerte. Que la distancia nos entuba y la amistad no se consuma. Todos aquí somos humanos. ¿Qué más me da el color, la raza? Dentro tenemos sentimientos que necesitan de sustento. Si adentro tenemos sentimientos, no se pueden quedar adentro. mi casa abierta. Hay un plato por ti en la mesa, sobre algo para tu cabeza. Libre abierto a tu vida, mi puerta. Casa abierta, la amistad no cuestiona tu credo. A la tierra le gusta que amemos, sin distingo de culto y bandera. Casa abierta, casa abierta, casa abierta. Casa abierta. Yeah. That was one we weren't planning on doing. Oh, okay. But there's a million of these songs. They're really gorgeous. But Salvador and Katia Cardenal are two people definitely influenced by the Nueva Cancion movement, but this song is from the 90s. And really, I mean, a big piece of what interests me about the movement is the nature of the poetry being expressed. Really, I think it's quite something. And in the midst, I mean, they're writing this in the midst of war, in the midst of people being torn apart, in the midst of a lot of upheaval in their country, but yet, you know, it's a very generous song about giving and loving and
I have a question.
having your open house. Yeah.
Colleen,
Yes.
do you think that the rhythm is not angry enough for revolutionary music? I mean, it's so seductive. And, you know, it could be a love song,
Yeah.
which is great, just the rhythm, but the rhythm needs to be angry. I mean, do you think the rhythm is not angry enough to depict the anger in the people who are singing these lovely...
But she's appealing to souls, not
But those are
not the violence in this case.
well,
Maybe it's more
She's saying, "Open, this is my open house. Come in."
Right. That's the kind of the misnomer about
that's the
the.
passivity that caused all these issues, including the Catholic Church's passivity. You know, all that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is the passivity of the rhythm, not the words.
Oh, interesting. Well,
You know,
I mean, this is all, well, this, I guess there is there's a broad, I guess I can answer it this way. There's a really broad spectrum of songs that fit under this Nueva Cancion umbrella. And there are many, and the songs that resonate with me are the ones kind of in my repertoire. And so it really is, it's like this amazingly broad, you know, spectrum. And some of the most, but you're right, like some of the most incredible songs that I know have very, like beautiful in a way, like you were saying, like appealing to souls or whatever you want to say, spirit. Like one of the songs I'm thinking of is like Ali Primero in Venezuela, and it's like the saddest song. It's like, you know, how sad you hear the rain, you know, on the houses made of cardboard, you know. But in that song, it's so radical. Like the lyrics are really radical.
but
Yeah,
the
Steve.
rhythm, but the rhythm doesn't, like, for example, a rap song, like some of the stuff that the rap songs, I mean, they make you angry, just the rhythm.
Well, but
What's
the purpose isn't anger in the.
Okay.
I mean, I was just going to say that there is a difference between passivity and a support of beauty and happiness in life. But I mean, I understand what you're saying about the passivity, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily follow that there is some kind of beauty and that makes it passive. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. In other words, you're looking for revolution to be more boom, 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 and of course that is revolution too. But there is a revolution of spirit that if you're not strong in your spirit and you're not feeling connected to other people, then you also can't have a revolution. And what you only have is violence.
I mean, the most radical movements. And at the songs being made at this time, the students were not passive whatsoever. They, as a matter of fact, they got rid of all the dictators. Every last one of them, gone. And it wasn't just because they went willingly. It was like a massive, thousands of people in the streets. Kids disappeared. I mean, look, anybody from Chile here? Look at Chile right now. There's a whole renovation of youth culture, and they are tearing it up, and they're smart, and they're savvy, and they listen to whatever kind of music they want. So I mean, like when Mercedes Sosa sings the most tender love song, like Volver a los 17, I mean, it's like Return to Age 17, and it's about this love song because she fell in love when she was in her 50s, but she felt like she was a kid again, and she sings this song, and it's a love song, but then she has this part where she says, el amor, no, el amor libera los prisioneros, love liberates the prisoner, and everybody in the audience goes wild, because when she's singing it, all their friends are in jail, right? All their friends are disappeared, right? All their friends, so it's like, that's the transformative power. It's not necessarily, and it's the most, we'll sing it, it's the most tender song. So, you know, and there are other songs, like, if you want to hear, like, there's, I mean, I can give you, like, I can name names. No, it's like the FSLN, you know, or in Nicaragua, and there was the Farabundo Martí in El Salvador, and they had the most radical songs. I mean, it was like, what was that one? It was like, their national anthem was like, Adelante, marchemos compañeros. It was like this whole kind of socialist, realist thing, and it's like, it goes, El hijo de Sandino, the child of Sandino, ni se vende, ni se rinde, doesn't sell himself, doesn't give up. He's like, luchamos contra el Yankee, we fought against the Yankee. El enemigo de la humanidad, the enemy of humanity. You know, so it's just like, oh my God.
Okay, you got it.
And we need that.
El pueblo unido.
We need that also, as well as the tender.
Yeah, and that, you know, this one I'll just do a little bit. It's like, you know, I have to go. Well, I'll teach. Okay, we're gonna sing one. We're gonna sing a radical one for you, right? You ready? I'm gonna teach it to you. It's really simple. Your part is a desalambrar. Want to try it? A desalambrar, which means tear down the barbed wire. So it's like el pueblo es nuestro, es tuyo. La tierra es nuestro, es de tuya y de aquel, right? So the land is ours and it's yours, right? And anybody who doesn't like the words I'm saying is probably a gringo or is an owner in this country, you know, that you own the ownership, right? So that's just, so it's like this. So that's the song. It goes. Yo pregunto a los presentes, si no se han puesto a pensar que si la tierra es de nosotros y no del que tenga más, a desalambrar, try it, a desalambrar, que la tierra es nuestra y es tuya de aquel, de Pedro y María, Juan y José. Yo pregunto si en esta tierra nunca habrá pensado usted que si las manos son nuestras, es nuestro lo que nos den. A desalambrar, a desalambrar, a desalambrar, a desalambrar, que la tierra es nuestra y es tuya de aquel, de Pedro y María, Juan y José. Si molesto con mi canto y a los que no quieren huir, te aseguro que es un gringo, un dueño de este país. A desalambrar, a desalambrar, a desalambrar, a desalambrar, la tierra es nuestra y es tuya de aquel, de Pedro y María, Juan y José. Yes, Steve.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that the song, for example, you just did,
Yeah.
has a very martial feel, it's kind of militant militarism,
Right.
very much like the anti-fascist songs of Spain that I guess we're familiar with. And if
Right.
you've ever heard the pro-fascist, pro-Franco songs of Spain, they're identical,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
instead of going fascista, they go comunista. But it's the same style, and what it is I guess it's vieja Cancion. It's the old song, that militaristic, militant march, style is part of the culture certainly, but it's a part that maybe Nueva Cancion was getting away from by saying, let's look at the folklorico, let's look
And
at
it's a little more Western,
Right.
and yeah, that's
Right,
what
it's
you're
more
kind of referring to.
European,
Right.
Norte, but it's also, let's look at the folklore of Latin America, and let's hear what the people in the country are singing, what workers are singing, what the old people are singing, and what they're singing are love songs. They're not singing the marches. You go
Right.
collect the folk songs, there might be occasionally one, but they tend not to be militant songs. They tend to be love songs, and they tend to be lullabies, and they tend to be ballads. And I think it was consciously taking those rhythms and those melodies
Right,
and then melding them
yes,
with the language, the words, a lot of militancy
yeah.
that created Nueva Cancion.
Right. The music was created not to kind of like, okay, we're going to make these songs and to have the masses rise up. It was really, it was kind of, the songs were with, like, of, by, and for the people. Like, it was very much within. And a lot of the songs were very kind of celebrating what was already happening, right? Or, just like, I mean, there was just a long tradition in Latin America. I mean, a wonderful, because you all are really interested in kind of the authentic folk music and the story of the rancheros and the ballads of Mexico were all about that. They were all, it was like Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States only in song, because they weren't, the people weren't written into history, right? Normal people's lives, the común y corriente people. So, folk music was the way to document that. And Nueva Cancion is really no different. It was very much a celebration of everyday life, really, And so there were these anthemic songs, that was kind of defined like a nationalistic, but, the vast majority were really just reflecting, people's experience. And actually, there's one song, you want to do Playa Girón?
Sure.
Because I think that's a good segue into this song. This is by Silvio Rodriguez, and he's such a dangerous guy they wouldn't let him to the country for decades. Yeah, he's not dangerous. But Playa Girón, it's interesting because Playa Girón is actually the name of the Bay of Pigs, which is such a crude propaganda, piece. I mean, the name of the beach is Playa Girón, but they called it Bay of Pigs Bay. And I love this song because he talks about the arbitrariness of truth in a way, and he's asking kind of for participation, He says, compañeros, poet, you poets, keeping in mind, what's going on in poetry. I'd like to ask, what kind of adjectives should I use to describe this boat, without being sentimental and vanguardistic or even like pamphleteering? Because a lot of times Nueva Cancion didn't want a pamphleteer. They wanted to be, kind of promote more like a, kind of like when you ring a bell, like the Tibetan bell, and it rings, but then there's like this big reverberation. It was kind of like that. It's like they would, something that would help other people think, or, not prescribe, So what can I say about these people on the Playa Girón? So it was the name of the boat that he was on, right, at the time. And he says, you in music, keeping in mind all the polytonalities and all the audacious songs that nowadays I'd like to ask, what kind of harmony should I use to sing this song about this boat with, with men, and they're just men, they're black men, red men, and blue men, right, the men that are on the Playa Girón. And then the last line is, you who know history, the truth should be truth, you know, it should be the truth, but I'd like to say, you know, what can I do? What kind of, you know, borders should I respect if someone steals food but then gives their life? You know, what's to be done? How much should we be practicing truths, you know? How far do we know? Yeah.
This is based, I think, on the, they shot at this fisher boat that was out there at sea, Cuban shot, fellow Cubans. It's not based on, you know, the Bay of Pigs invasion.
No, right,
And,
yes.
so I guess maybe they weren't supposed to be fishing there or something. And so it's really saying, like, what are we doing to ourselves here?
Exactly.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah, at the end, they find, he says, let those on the play who don't write their own story.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah, I didn't know that piece about that, like
Yeah.
the, yeah.
It's not based on,
No, I know it's not based on
it's
play,
on-
you don't,
but-
no, not this,
Yeah.
no, that, I know that, the song, I'm just saying the name of Playa Hidon is also the name of the, where the Bay, what they call the Bay of Pigs, but Playa Hidon here refers to the boat itself, yeah. Wow. Good, do you wanna sing it?
Yeah.
Do you know the song? Yes, I'll sing it. Compañeros poetas, tomando en cuenta los últimos sucesos, en la poesía quisiera preguntar, me urge, ¿qué tipo de adjetivo se debe usar para ser cama de un barco sin que se haga sentimental? Fuera de la vanguardia, un evidente panfleto. Cómo buscar palabras, como flota cubana de pesca y de playa compañeros de música, tomando en cuenta esos politonales y a bases canciones quisiera preguntar, me urge, ¿qué tipo de armonía se debe usar para hacer la canción de un barco con hombres de poca niñez? Hombres y solamente hombres sobre cubierta, hombres negros y rojos y azules, los hombres que pueblan el Playa Hidon. historia, su historia a los hombres de Playa Girón. Que escriban pues la historia, su historia a los hombres de Playa Girón. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Silvio Rodriguez is quite something. You know the song by Malvina Reynolds, Little Boxes?
Yes, of course.
Right, of course, and of course now it's famous by Weeds, you know. There's a show called Weeds, an HBO show called Weeds,
Oh, yeah,
about a middle-class woman who loses her husband and she sells pot for a living, so it's like Little Boxes, very funny. So the first couple of seasons, all these different artists interpreted that song. But Victor Jara, he made a parody of that song, Las Casitas del Barrio Alto, making fun of the upper class in Chile, which is really amazing, you know.
You want to do that then?
No, I don't know it. I don't know it well enough. No, not at all. But I was thinking of maybe just doing another song by Silvio,
Oh.
called Generaciones.
Colleen, how about a Joey Richards?
Oh yeah. All right, let's do that. Let's do
What do you
Romero.
want to do?
Okay.
Thank you for that, Steve. That's great. Because we mentioned before about the Nueva Cancion movement kind of, you know, continuing into the present. And actually, I've been, like as Steve said before, I've been part of a big movement to close the School of the Americas in Fort Benning, Georgia, because really that was it's a training, there's a military training school there. It was called La Escuela de las Américas. But then in 2001, they changed the name because of the pressure of the people. But so they changed the name to the Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation, which is really hard to rhyme in a song. But
That was Zaire this year.
yeah, and they were at one point there were many, like thousands of people, like 20,000 people, and Pete Seeger came every year for quite a while, for about 8 years, and we shared the stage with him many times during that, and he called it the singinest movement in the country, which it really was, and there was, it was many musicians. Music really helped to form the movement in a big way, and the school hasn't closed, but it's this amazing kind of network of people working on issues in Latin America that go down there as well. And before I sing this song, I just had this amazing memory because it's so great to speak to an audience that really cares about folk music and the power of folk music. But there was a big stage, and like I said, there were thousands of people there, and Pete was on the stage, and we have a musicians collective, right? Everybody kind of performs because there's a lot of different musicians, and we trade off verses and things like that. And the sound system went out. So we started singing like a bright morning star, like we were going like bright morning star rising, and then we'd made it like a zipper song. It'd be like, bright morning star rising, bright morning star rising, days are breaking in my soul. And then we'd be like, let every ant grow, I'm communist, or something, close down the SOA, right? So we start singing that, and the crowd in front starts singing, and then the crowd behind starts singing, and then all of a sudden there's like 10,000 people singing that without any amplification. It was right up Pete's alley, because so that was really, that's just the rain on it's just you and me and rain on the roof. So this is the reason why I brought that whole thing up about the School of the Americas is because this is a song by a friend of ours, a dear friend of ours, Jolie Christine Rickman, and she passed away a few years ago of ovarian cancer. She died very young, but she was an amazing presence on this earth, and she created incredible songs. And one thing that she did do was she took the last homily of Archbishop Oscar Romero. Are you familiar with Romero? Is anybody not familiar with Romero? Is anybody not? Yeah. Anybody want to fill in? Archbishop Romero was he was a bishop in El Salvador. He was made archbishop, and he was assassinated by people trained at the SOA. You know, who orchestrated his murder. He was murdered while he was saying mass. But you know, he was chosen for archbishop because he was a very learned man and and people thought he was very conservative and just a bookworm. But as he found out more and more about what was happening in the country, he became very incredulous. He was kind of like the Nelson Mandela of El Salvador, really. You know, there's actually, if you get Netflix, there's a beautiful film called Romero with Raúl Julia, an excellent film. It's called Romero, and there's a documentary called The Last Journey of Archbishop Romero, and it's amazing. It's so much footage about, you know, when he goes to the countryside, when he sees, it's incredible. So I highly recommend those two films. Really great. So Jolie took his last homily and she translated it and then she put it to music. And there's one section that just says "Cese a la represión," stop the repression. But the rest are all Romero's words, right? So. This is my appeal to you, the rank and file, who serve as guards, police, and garrison. My brothers, you are all from among the same people, but at your hands your people die. In the name of God, listen to the cries of the suffering. Rise up to the heaven. Why, I beseech you, order you, beg you, cesse la pression. Above all commands, you're given by a man. The law of love must stand, and thou shalt not kill. Above any order, you're given by a soldier. The law of God says only to love. In the name of God, listen to the cries of the suffering. Rise up to the heaven. Why, I beseech you, order you, beg you, cesse la répression. Brothers, I assure you, you are not obliged to obey one who tells you to kill your people. Now reclaim your conscience, now reclaim your people. Even you, a soldier, can. In the name of God, listen to the cry of the suffering. Rise up to the heaven. Why, I beseech you, order you, beg you, in the name of God, listen to the cries of the suffering. Rise up to the heaven. Why, I beseech you, order you, beg you, Cecilar precio. So that's earlier. Thank you. Does anybody want to share a song, possibly? That,
I can do an old one.
yeah? Okay.
Llorona?
See? La Llorona?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you do
Yeah.
A minor?
What? A minor.
Yeah.
Just to let you know what you're getting. Aunque la vida me cueste llorona, yo no dejaré de quererte. Hacia el cielo, sube pudiera llorona, las estrellas te bajarán. Si al cielo sube pudiera llorona, las estrellas te bajarán. La luna a tus pies pusiera llorona, y el cielo coronará. La luna a tus pies pusiera llorona, y el sol te coronará. Ay, everybody, me llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Ay, mi llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Aunque la vida me cueste llorona, no dejaré de quererte. Aunque la vida me cueste llorona, no dejaré de quererte. My favorite verse next. Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Yo soy como el chile verde llorona, picante pero sabroso. Yo soy como el chile verde llorona, picante pero sabroso. Ay, llorona, 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 y azul celeste.
De ayer y hoy. Ay, de mi llorona, llorona de ayer y hoy. Ayer maravilla fui llorona, y ahora ni sombra soy. Ayer maravilla fui llorona, y ahora ni sombra soy.
Una más.
Yeah, ay de mi llorona, llorona, llévame al campo santo. Ay de mi llorona, 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 llévame al campo santo. Papá me
salías del templo un día llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi. Salías del templo un día llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi. Hermoso huipil llevabas llorona, y la Virgen te creí. Hermoso huipil llevabas llorona, y la Virgen te creí.
That's a great song.
Oh, yeah.
And that's called The Weeping Woman. It's so interesting because that goes back, there's so many stories about who the Weeping Woman was,
If you have a room full of Latins, it's odd. You start that and you have a room singing.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep.
It isn't just Mexican anymore.
No.
Particularly when it was put in a big movie.
Like Frida,
Yeah.
With Chabela.
Yeah.
Oh, I know a song by Chabela Vargas. That's a really good. You want to learn the chorus? Yes. It goes because Chabela Vargas. Anybody familiar with Chabela Vargas? Yeah, and she was Costa Rican really, but then when she was 12, she knew she was a lesbian, and she was totally hated. She rebelled against her father, and she took off when she was 12. And she took off to Mexico, and she found a new home there. And she started singing all the traditional Mexican stuff, but she didn't change any of the pronouns. And so it's really, her life is amazing actually. And she knew Frida Kahlo, and that whole period of time, and she was quite famous in Mexico. And then she became like an alcoholic, and she just fell into like a living death. Drinking, and then she went to the healers, the curanderos, in Mexico, and she said that they healed her, and she came back, and she had this second, career, and she was in a number of films, and Frida was one of them. It's really cool. But okay, so this song is called. It goes like this. It goes. It's in A minor too. It goes. So it goes. So the translation is, put your hand on me here, Macorina.
Yeah.
Put your hand on me here, And it's like, I just want to be like, she's like, when they see you, the sugar cane, it hops off the truck and runs after you so that you'll grind it into into syrup, It's a really sexy song. So it goes, ponme la mano aquí, Macorina. Want to try it? Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina. Ponme la mano aquí. That's what I did. Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina. Ponme la mano aquí. Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina. Ponme la mano aquí. Tus pies dejaban la estela, y si escapaba tu saya, por donde la verde raya, que al ver tu talle tan fino, las calles azucares se echaban por el camino, para que tú las molieras como si fueras molino. Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina, ponme la mano aquí. Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina, ponme la mano aquí. dame la mano, afina Colina, ponme la mano. Just right here. Yeah, it's a good, there's another verse too. I didn't do that one. Yeah, that's a good one. All those A minor songs. Yeah. Actually, there's a really funny song in the book, which is, I mean, it's an old traditional song from Mexico. It's called El Bracero Fracasado. But Lila Downs kind of resurrected it. But El Bracero Fracasado, because bracero would be like a wetback, it's like a really derogatory term. And it's the failed, wetback, the person who tries to cross the border. And she resurrects the song and on a CD that's called Border, La Frontera, or La Línea, La Línea. And so it's the song's in the context of a lot of songs about the plight of the immigrants, right? Because it's a very flippant song, but she contextualizes it in this whole album. That's just amazing. It's so beautiful. I highly recommend it if you don't know her work, Lila Downs. She's really quite something. Dignificada means dignified, and it's actually have you ever heard of Digna Ochoa? No. Digna Ochoa, she was a Mexican lawyer, and she was very concerned about the loss of habitat and the logging industry, kind of the illegal logging, and she was, it's pretty clear that she was murdered by the logging interests.
Wow.
And I not too long ago, about like 10 years ago, and so Lila Downs wrote, Falcón or Armando Villarreal, they wrote this song, which is very beautiful. It's about her life. I wasn't going to sing it. I was just going to tell you about it because this kind of extension of the Nueva Cancion, a type piece. And
Where?
In Mexico. In Mexico. And so, and the way that the song is structured is very beautiful because it's kind of it says it's dedicated to all women who fight for dignity and respect. And of course it's a play on her name. Her name was Digna, Ochoa, so it's Dignificada. And it's very beautiful. It's kind of like a...
So you're not going to sing it? Can you sing it?
Well, let's see. It says, well, I can't play it on guitar. I'll play a little bit. I can sing a little bit of it just so you get it's a very beautiful song. It goes, hay en la noche un grito se escucha lejano. Cuentan azures la voz de silencio. En este armario hay un gato encerrado. Porque una mujer defendió su derecho. De la montaña se escucha la voz de un rayo. Es el relámpago claro de la verdad. En esta vida santa en que nadie perdona nada. Pero si una mujer defendió su dignidad. Ay, morena, morenita mía, no te olvidaré. Ay, morena, morenita mía, yo no te olvidaré. Te seguí los pasos, niña, hasta llegar a la montaña y seguí la ruta de Dios que las ánimas acompañan. Te guiaré los pasos, niña, hasta llegar a la montaña y seguí la ruta de Dios que las ánimas acompañan. Ay, morena, morenita mía, no te olvidaré. Ay, morena, morenita mía, no te olvidaré. Virgen hermosa, ruega por ella. Virgen hermosa, ruega por ella.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
It's not a hard melody to remember either.
Yeah, that's the one, Nueva Cancion, like the melodies are good. Leela Downs, a story about her, she was, because I live in a little community, right, and there's not much kind of Latin music going on, if you know what I mean, except Ithaca, it's nearby, and they have Latin nights and things, but, so we got a grant, actually, a big grant, the community, and I teach at SUNY Portland, so we were able to bring Leela Downs and her band back a few years ago, which was tremendous, because we get the tickets for free. It was really great, and people came from all over, you know. It was really wonderful, and she comes on stage, and it was April. Now, April in Portland is supposed to be kind of cool, and it can snow, but it was like almost 90 degrees that day. You know, global warming at its best. It was really hot, and she walks on stage and she starts singing. She's like, relámpago en el cielo trae mucha electricidad. It's like, the thunder and the thunder and lightning in the sky brings a lot of electricity. And when she starts singing that, there was this huge thunderbolt outside. And it was like, and it shook the place. I was like, Leela is on the right path. It was really cool.
That's power.
Yes, there you go. That's the power of song. So does anybody else? What do you have?
I have a request. Gracias a la vida.
I see. Okay.
Do you like that?
Because Susana Vaca, I know that. Maria Lando, I can play that. That's the one proving song we do know, right? Uh-oh.
That's it. Wait,
Gracias a la
you want
vida.
me to type for you, or,
No, that's good. What? Does that go? Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado dos luceros que cuando los abro perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado y en las multitudes a la gente que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el oído que en todo su ancho graba noche y día, graba noche y día, grillos y canarios, martillos turbinos, chubascos y llantos, y la voz tan tierna de mi bien amado. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario, con él las palabras yo pienso y declaro, madre, amiga y hermana, y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma, el que estoy mi amor. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la marcha de mis pies cansados, con ellos anduve ciudades y charcos, playas y desiertos, montañas y llanos, y la casa tuya, tu caí Cuando miro el fruto del cerebro humano, cuando miro el fruto del cerebro humano, cuando miro el bueno tan lejos del malo, cuando miro el fondo de tus ojos claros, gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la risa y me ha dado el llanto. Así yo distingo dicha de quebranto, los dos materiales que forman mi canto y el canto de ustedes que es mi propio canto y el canto de todos que es el mismo canto. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto. That's the irony of life. I mean, Violeta Parra, she wrote that song like less than 2 weeks before she took her own life. And it's the greatest anthem to life, you know. She had, I think she was very sick, and she also had kind of, I mean, I don't know, just from things that I read, you know, so who knows, really, you know. Just like that song Playa Girón said, but I think she was kind of isolated and very ill too, so she left the world, but she left the world a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de este amor, nuestras almas se acercaron tanto así, y el mundo lleva sabor a mí. Si negaras mi presencia en tu vivir, bastaría rezarme y confesar. Tanto tiempo yo te di que por fuerza llega sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, no soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida.
make that spontaneously or no?
No, because I listened to that song a lot on Leela, and I was singing the English. I was like, oh, it's totally singable in English. Doesn't happen all the time in Spanish. You know?
It really works. I never heard it done in English. But
Yeah.
it
Doesn't read either, no.
Yeah, Doris Day does it in English.
Does she?
Oh, even in the recording with
Really?
Three of Los Panchos.
But is it like
Translation?
because I would love to listen to that because sometimes with translation that's really awesome. But you know how I really like to stay
Yeah,
to the
she
thing.
says, for example, I'm so helpless when you touch me.
Yeah,
feelings,
screw
you know,
that.
kind of, well, that's what she does.
That's terrible. Sorry, Doris. I love you. Oh my God. Do you want to do Maria Lando?
Give it a try.
All right.
Let me
Because
see.
this is the only, I would like to do one from Peru, and I don't know that many. But this one is a gringified version of the Peruvian song. It's called Maria Lando. You know that? But it's beautiful because it says, you know, it kind of makes, it's a critique of poverty with this poetry around it, you know, and so the day springs forth and it's so beautiful, and then the afternoon comes and it pours forth its overflowing cup, and then the evening comes and, you know, you can't be alone, but for Maria there's no evening or morning or night, because Maria only works, and her work, su trabajo es ajeno, her work is not her own. Right? I mean, that's the best way I can translate it, you know, her work is not her own, yeah. So it's my... Oh, and you can try that at the end, it's just Maria Lando, you can sing that. La madrugada estalla como una estatua de alas que se dispersan por la ciudad. Y el mediodía canta campana de agua de oro que nos prohíbe la soledad. Y la noche levanta su larga copa larga, luna temprana por sobre el mar. Pero para María no hay madrugada. Pero para María no hay mediodía. Pero para María ninguna luna alza su copa roja sobre las aguas. María no tiene tiempo, María Lando de alzar los ojos. María de alzar los ojos, María Lando roto de sueño. María roto de sueño, María Lando de andar sufriendo. María y andar sufriendo, María Lando solo trabaja. María solo trabaja, solo trabaja, solo trabaja. María solo trabaja, su trabajo es ajeno. María Lando, María Lando, María Lando. You know how I learned the song because David Byrne, actually, you know, of Talking Heads fame, you know, and he has, I think he still does have that project, right?
Yeah, it's not so active.
Not so active, but he had this amazing project where he would do compilation CDs, kind of bringing world music to,
He
you
did
know,
some
like
things with Paul
U.S.
Simon,
audiences.
didn't he?
They're friends.
No, Paul Simon did something similar to that.
Oh, they are
maybe
friends.
so,
They're
okay.
friends, yeah. And, but it's called The Soul of Black Peru, and it's great compilation CD.
Is it,
And you can get it,
can you get it on the web?
yes.
Yeah.
The Soul of Black Peru.
Yeah, now,
Okay,
you know, interesting, you know,
Under the title
rhythmically that,
Maria Molando?
Maria Lando,
Maria Lando.
yeah.
Yeah.
Susana Baca.
Yeah, that's a song worth learning.
the
Yes, it is.
The original rhythms are very, you know, interesting in that,
Yes.
I mean, the
Oh,
Colleen actually kind of plays it a little more on the Cuban side
do.
Well, yeah,
of the equation, but it's actually like a 6/8 rhythm, and
Yeah.
the figures kind of
6/8
almost,
would be like Greek, you mean? Yeah.
the melodic figure on the guitar sounds almost like it's playing like a montuno kind of figure, but it's really, it's deceptive, it's in 3 beats, not in.
It's
Yeah.
read in the huaracha style like you do it.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Colleen, you have basically time for one more.
Okay.
Okay, I was also going to, since you're going to comment about the musical structure, one of the things I've noticed about a lot of the Latin music and its carryover from Spain is, I'm not sure if it's called Phrygian mode or whatever, but we use this flatted second. So, for example, you were going from the F sharp to the G back to the F sharp.
Oh, yes, right,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
going up half a step from, you said, that actually harks back to Arabic music.
Definitely.
Where they use that. So you have this Moorish influence that went
Yeah,
from the
from
Middle East to Spain to the Americas,
Right.
and then picked up these other rhythms, including,
Yeah.
as you say, if they, you know, whether it was an Eastern European rhythm or a native indigenous rhythm. It's very interesting what is still there in the Latin music today are all these influences, I say, some going back to the ancient Middle East.
That's correct.
Well, the Middle
Yeah.
Eastern stuff was, in Cuba particularly, is very heavy because so many of the early Spaniards came to Cuba right after the Moors got kicked out.
Right.
You
Right,
know,
exactly.
and,
1492. Yep, the ocean
it
blew
was-
and the Moors out too. And Jews
you can
out
hear
too.
it.
And they, right, Isabella
And you
came
know,
down
it's
to
interesting
Jews, I know.
because like thinking of the Peruvian side, I always think it's almost like you're making me think of this, but it's like everything came in the Americas because the Andean side is so
Right.
Asian influenced too.
Yes.
And the indigenous music there is quite, it's just blows
You
your
want to
mind.
do something
yeah.
Andean to end, or no?
Well, I was thinking of doing this song just because it's a participatory song and it's from Colombia and and it has to do, when as I mentioned, I did this benefit compilation CD, and I belong to a sister community in Colombia, campesino community, and we exchange back and forth all the time. And water is a big issue there and mining and the extractive industries, and we actually visited many places in Bogota, and one of the places was a water organization, but they had made a compilation CD of all the amazing Colombian music and all the music in one way or another had to do with water. So we didn't get it at the organization. We're out of CDs. We didn't get it at the organization. We went to the vice president of Colombia. We got to, because the woman who organized the tour was a friend of his, and he goes. And he found out that I like music. He goes, I want to give you a gift. And he gave me the CD. And on it was this song. And it's a beautiful song called El Playón de Santa Rosa. Yeah, El Playón de Santa Rosa, yeah. Oh, Aguacero de Mayo. You thought we were going to do.
Yeah.
Let's do Aguacero de Mayo. Shit, because he knows it. I'm so sorry. But I do want to tell you the story of El Playón de Santa Rosa because it just kind of blows your mind, like the power of music. Because it goes, you know, in 1920, el Playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, right? So the great beach of Playa Girón in 1929 1920, not 29, that was the market crash. No, a great canopy full of butterflies. But now all that's been destroyed, all that's been lost and gone. right?
Cañon
And
is
Cañon is great beach, like a big beach, and the Capa Verde is the canopy. So okay, I told you, I live in central New York. This song is it's a traditional song from Colombia. I'm singing at this little coffee house in Cortland, New York, which is like population like 10,000 people, okay? And there's a kid behind the counter, barista, and we were talking. I said, oh, I'm going to do this song I just learned from Colombia. He goes, oh, I'm part Colombian and part Puerto Rican. I was like, oh, great. So I go, that's cool, you know, and I get up, I do the song. He goes, on the break, he goes, I love that song. My grandfather used to sing me that song. I love that song so much that I have a tattoo of a butterfly on my back. And I was just like, see, you know, you never know. You never know. But we'll do this other one. This is a good one too. This is by
Canta dos canciones.
yeah,
No, do
Toda
both
la
of them.
Cocina. But this one is really great. It's like and good for the rainy
Colleen,
night.
do
It
both.
goes,
Yeah, I do both.
Okay, but this is a simple one. Aguacero de mayo. So that's your part. Aguacero de mayo. Déjalo caer. Yeah, so it goes, aguacero de mayo. So, aguacero de mayo, déjalo caer. And that's it, yeah. Aguacero de mayo, déjalo caer. 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 Mañana cuando me vaya, ¿quién se acordará de mí? ¿Quién se acordará de mí? Solamente la tinaja por el agua que bebí. Solamente la tinaja por el agua que bebí. Aguacero de mayo, déjalo caer. 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 Bonita la mañanita, bonita la mañanita, con el sol amaneciendo, con el sol amaneciendo. Los gallos me rodeando y los trapiches mollendo. Los gallos me rodeando y los trapiches mollendo. Aguacero de mayo, déjalo caer. 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 That's a good one.
What we like to do now is ask Colleen if she could do an encore, and what don't you do as an encore, the butterfly song?
All right, will you sing with me? Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. It's really great. It's a really nice thing you have going here. So I'll teach you that it goes, en 1920, el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde. And then the key line is, con miles de mariposa. Yeah, good. So that if you can't get the and then if you notice at the end of each verse, I repeat the line twice. So if you hear it and you want to repeat it with me, go ahead and don't worry about saying the right word. Just the syllables are fine, no? So let's see. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, con miles de mariposas. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa que protegían a la regla, todo eso se acabó, porque le echan un candela, porque le echan un candela. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, con miles de mariposas, oro, peto y arrendamo, esos pájaros se han ido, ya no se oye cantar el chavar y el sonido, el chavar y el sonido. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, con miles de mariposas. La grandeza del playón es la piedra de molino que dejó Doña María para hacer un pergamino, para hacer un pergamino. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, con miles de mariposas. Aquí tenemos la piedra, los piececitos son los pies de San Martín, y esos pies están benditos, y esos pies están benditos. En 1920 el playón de Santa Rosa tenía una capa verde con miles de mariposas, 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 con miles de mariposas. Muchas gracias.
Once
Thank
again,
you, Steve, for organizing this.
thank you,
Marilyn and who
Colleen
else?
Kattau, Barry Kornhauser, and Paul Stein, and a hand for all of us in St. Paul.
Muy buenas noches.